54%, a majority of business people still saying that they will vote for the UK to remain as part of the European Union, but that gap is starting to narrow. Do you think if the referendum was a little bit further out, that more businesses would be convinced to leave?
Well, I think what the survey really shows is that business opinion on this issue, like so many issues, is dynamic and rolls with the times. Back in February when we last surveyed, it was 60-30 in favour of Remain. Now it's 54-37. There has been a bit of a swing. But I think as we get closer to the referendum date, business opinion is also starting to harden a little bit. So those who've said that they have a preference for either Remain or Leave, 90% of them are now committed. They're not going to change their vote now. So actually having that date of June the 23rd ahead of them, many more business people are locking in their votes.
You're waiting for the question this morning, I'm sure, about John Longworth. And just for the audience not in the UK, who's not been following the story, this is the former boss of BCC, stepped aside because he was in support of Brexit. He's had some comments in reaction to those surveys saying basically businesses are rejecting the Remain campaign's main tactic of talking down Britain and its dynamic economy. What do you make of those comments?
Well, I think everyone who is campaigning in this referendum debate will take each and every survey and try to fit the results of that survey to the side that they are campaigning for. It's only natural that they would do that. I'm not actually here to do that. What I am here to say is that you've got a business community in the UK that is divided, as we've always said. It's not monolithic in its viewpoint, and it has seen some change in its viewpoint over time. That in and of itself, I think, is a really significant story, because what you see is businesses somehow being influenced by the arguments they are hearing.
What is it that the growing, but as you say, kind of set in their mind now, anti-EU, Brexit committed companies, what is it that they're saying they really don't like about the EU? Because I think what a lot of the companies who do like it and want to remain, it's pretty clear they like the status quo. What is it they don't like about the EU that they think is going to change if we get Brexit?
Well, it's interesting. I've only got anecdotal evidence around that, what I hear when I visit with companies up and down the UK.
It must be the first question you ask.
Well, it is.
Apart
I do
from
ask
about
questions.
John Longworth.
Well, no, I do ask some questions, of course, about the referendum, because, of course, it is causing some businesses, though not that many, some significant uncertainty. I ask them the question, and what they say to me is those who do have an opinion in favour of leaving the European Union, they talk a lot about red tape. They talk a lot about what they see as costs imposed by the European Union. In contrast, those who want to remain talk quite a lot about the benefits of being able to trade within the single market. Each side's got their arguments.
Are they right? Because that is the image that certain members of the press and certain influences say. We have bundles and bundles of European red tape as well. Is that accurate? Is there a whole tranche of red tape that Britain could lose if it were to leave the EU?
Well, I mean, it's a hypothetical question, but when we've analysed red tape in the past, what we've found is that red tape comes from three different things. One, some of it comes from Brussels. Two, some of it comes from the way we here in the UK actually implement the rules from Brussels. We're very bad at actually making them more complicated than they need to be. And then the third, of course, is the way we then enforce those rules. So a lot of businesses are often complaining about enforcement here at home, but equating it with regulation from Brussels. So you've got to be very careful with red tape. You've got to go and then pinpoint exactly where it's come from and who's causing the pain for the company that's complaining.
Boris made the point yesterday when he was speaking that only 6% of UK businesses actually export to the EU. Obviously, there's a lot of small and medium-sized enterprises that don't. But then I look at your results and the breakdown of it, and it seems to suggest that even for the smaller companies, the vast majority are in favour of remaining. What's going on there and what are they saying?
Well, what we see in our survey is that the very smallest businesses have the highest preference for leave, and the very biggest businesses, medium-sized and large companies, have the highest preference for remain.
Yeah.
I think what you're talking about there is the group in the middle. So that sort of core bread and butter, 10 to 49 employees, perhaps 5, 10, 20 million pound turnover. They're still showing a majority in favour of remain. So I think, yes, there are different views amongst different sizes of firms. Your export orientation matters as well, but it sort of proves what we've been saying all along, which is there is not one business voice or business thinking on this referendum.